let's widen that debate on family-based parties. Joining me now, two special guests. Tavleen Singh, columnist and author, joins me. And Sanjay Jha, formerly of the Congress, now a suspended Congress spokesperson, joins me, and political analyst. Appreciate both of you joining us. Tavleen Singh, to you first. I just had Karthi Chidambaram tell me that family-based parties or dynasties are a South Asian phenomenon. The people support them. So why should pundits oppose them, is what he says.
You should ask him if anyone would dare to oppose them. That's the question. When you have, for instance, when it started actually in my early journalistic career with Sanjay Gandhi under the emergency, where he was very insidiously brought in by Indira Gandhi and handed over not just the Congress party, but India, right? Who was going to oppose Sanjay Gandhi? We in the Statesman office, we would get instructions every day from the PIB saying, put his picture on the front page, etc. So, you know, these guys, they talk like that without realizing that nobody can oppose them.
And do you think it's subject to diminishing returns? Tavleen Singh, you spoke about the 1970s, how Indira Gandhi institutionalized almost the idea of dynasty within the Congress party. Now everyone's taken a cue across regional parties, across every party. Is 2025 very different? You believe India has changed in some way? The voters have changed?
I think they have. I think that in Bihar, the rejection of Tejasvi is a sign of that. Because do you remember that earlier on, it was Rabri that he handed over Bihar to, and there wasn't that much opposition. But this time they've actually voted against. So I think that there is, and now when I travel, I haven't been in Bihar this time, but whenever I've traveled and asked people during an election whether they like this, they laugh, right? And they sometimes, you know, because the thing with political dynasties is that they're very powerful. So, you know, I mean, when you have a daddy or a mummy who's extremely powerful, you know, people are scared. They're kind of bahubalis in a different way, but they cause much damage to Indian democracy.
It's interesting the way you're putting it, because Sanjay Jha, are we clear that this is now subject to diminishing returns? Because we've seen a number of them return to power also, including family-based parties. We've seen the National Conference win in Jammu and Kashmir only last year. We've seen the DMK win, the Trinamool Congress, the Telugu Desam. Should we read too much into this Bihar verdict and what's happened to the first family of the Yadavs subsequently?
Rajdeep, my view is very explicit here, and an emphatic no. Like caste, family dynasty in Indian politics is a reality. And let's look at some hard data. Actually, I looked up some data before your program. Out of the 5,203 MLAs, MPs, MLCs put together, around 21%, that's 1/5 of the elected people or even indirectly elected people are from family dynasties. So, and this cuts across all political parties. Very interestingly, Rajdeep, 18% of BJP's elected legislators, both in parliament and in states, are from political families. So this is basically, in my opinion, the hard truth that we need to accept.
No, but is there a difference, if I may just intervene, a difference between people becoming MPs and MLAs because someone in the family is also an MP and MLA, and family-run parties where the leadership is almost an entitlement to someone from a particular family, then whether it's the Congress party or whether it's some of these regional parties?
Well, you know, let me answer that by telling you that's a very convenient classification, right? Which is what the BJP has used to target the Gandhis. You know, they come and say, well, you know, we agree that Dushyant Singh and whether it's Jyotiraditya Scindia and Anurag Thakur, Piyush Goyal, etc. But they're not leaders. But they could be leaders unless the BJP is sending out the message that these guys will never become the head of the BJP. But even look at Bihar. I think Tavleen mentioned Bihar. I can tell you in Bihar, RJD is still the single largest party in vote share. Chirag Paswan, in my opinion, is the X factor of the Bihar elections. I don't know how people have missed that. It is his 6 to 7% votes that have made the NDA the formidable player in Bihar in this election and highly successful. If you look at Akhilesh, Samajwadi Party did remarkably well in Uttar Pradesh last year, and that was the year of the Ram Janambhoomi and the Ram temple's consecration. So I do believe that we got to accept the truth that family dynasties have a legitimate right to be there in politics for the simple reason that they get a public mandate. And I'm not going to argue for or against it. I do believe that yes, as long as performance is recognized even within a family structure, nothing is wrong. But I will concede, right, that the problem with family parties is that they end up being parochial, they even become monarchies, and end of day, you will say this is not democratically a feasible long-term solution to the problems we
Okay.
have.
Tavleen Singh, that's interesting what Sanjay Jha is attempting to suggest, that he says if people choose, the argument made is if people choose these parties, then these parties derive a certain legitimacy. Do you believe that that legitimacy only comes from elections, or does it come, or are they fundamentally anti-democratic? The idea that a particular post is reserved for someone from a family is anti-democratic. It can happen in corporate boardrooms. It shouldn't be happening with political parties in a democracy.
No, but the whole point about coming into public life is you come to serve the people. When you have these dynastic parties, and particularly, and Sanjay is quite wrong, when you have a political party as your inheritance, it's very different to coming from a political family and standing for election. You own that political party, and then the state that you rule becomes like it's democratic feudalism. It's electoral feudalism, and it has seriously harmed Indian democracy, in my view, because people who have a desire to serve the public are often rejected in favor of some little useless heir who's never held a job down before. So, I mean, it is a reality, but it's an ugly reality, and we shouldn't call it legitimate. It is feudalism.
But how will that change? How, in your view, will that change? We saw Prashant Kishore, for example, in Bihar, claiming that he was the outsider, that he was going to challenge these sort of the entrenched party loyalties. What happened? He ended up with a zero. So I just wonder, how is any of this ever going to change, even as we see this Yadav Parivarwad play out in public?
It takes, well, that's the hope, that they all start fighting with each other and then they destroy themselves. Because really what they're doing is they've turned politics into, it's not a company, it's in a corporation. You have a right to hand that over to your children. You don't have the right to hand over Maharashtra to your heirs, or or India. Please, let's be serious about this. It is a reality. It's an ugly reality, and the quicker they start fighting with each other, the bigger our hopes of real democracy.
So in conclusion, Sanjay Jha, the word that Tavleen used, which struck with me, is democratic feudalism. It is democratic feudalism. Now, you would hope that a modern democracy in the 21st century would challenge feudal tendencies. And you and I should be encouraging that, rather than saying, look, this is the reality, we can't do anything about it.
Well, Rajdeep, as a lateral, as an outsider in Indian politics, I actually came from out of the blue into politics. I should be speaking against the family dominance in Indian politics, but I don't, because I'm very pragmatic and practical about the realities of India. It's good to think of a utopian concept, yes, but at the end of the day, I also recognize I've seen family leaders at very close quarters, and I realize they have magnetic power. I mean, it's some kind of an emotional hold, and that is the right of the people of the country. I am no one to deny the rights of the choices that people make. I want to make 2 points to what Tavleen added. I agree that there are issues that we need to resolve, but I would worry about the fact that in our country, we don't address the fundamental problems that are much bigger than Parivarwad. 46% of our MPs in the Lok Sabha are criminals. They have criminal antecedents. And Rajdeep, some of them are serious. Around 31% are serious, including rape, murder, arson, loot. And we are okay with that. We are kosher with that. but we are worried about a family
And what's
dynasty.
your
I
second
think
point?
we need to be very clear there. The second is political funding. If you don't, electoral bonds is history. And to my mind, that was the most corrupt mafia operation in political legitimacy in this country. So democracy has bigger challenges, in my opinion. Parivarwad is not such a big issue. It becomes very emotive because the Gandhi family is a low-hanging fruit. Everyone loves to whack left, right, and center. But I do feel we should address the bigger problems of criminalization of Indian politics.
You make a good
and
point.
political
You make
funding.
a good point. I'll give Tavleen the final word then. Sanjay Jha says focus on the criminalization of politics, the capture of the state apparatus. That's where the real anti-democratic tendencies are. Parivarwad at the end of the day can be in a sense justified because according to him, if that's what the people want, that's what they'll get. Should we be focusing on Parivarwad and making the Gandhis, as he claims, a soft target? Or indeed the Yadavs?
He works for the Gandhis. He can't speak against them, okay? So I'm not.
He used to work for them, but but go ahead.
You can't say anything against the Gandhi family if you've had anything to do with the Congress. No, what you need to think about, Mr. Jha, is that why do they want to be in politics? They're not doing it. They're not coming in for public service. They're coming in to make money. And to me, corruption is as bad as, anti-democratic as criminals in politics. Those criminals, these are also, in a way, criminals because they are in politics to make money. There's no other reason. They're not there for public service.
But that's not true only of families, Tavleen. That's true of a number of politicians who may not even be linked to politics, who are also corrupting our political landscape. So
absolutely, absolutely. But, these guys come with a head start.
Okay, let me leave it there.
Give me 10 seconds, Rajdeep.
Okay, 10 seconds only. Yes, Sanjay, 10 seconds.
Tavleen, firstly, I don't work for the Gandhis. In fact, I have been critical of them when they have gone wrong. You have admired Mr. Modi, but let me tell you, you have been critical of the Gandhis in your book, Delhi Darbar, which I read. And guess what? Maneka Gandhi and Varun Gandhi, famous Gandhis, by the way, are part of the BJP that Mr. Modi actually uses. And that's a great paradox of Indian politics.
What's your point? What's your point?
My point is that the BJP is guilty of dynasty politics like nobody else.
Okay.
They are using the Gandhi name, for God's sake.
The BJP is not the personal property of a family. The BJP so far is not.
Neither is the Congress for that matter.
Okay, let's leave it there. Let's leave it there. We've heard two sides, and I appreciate two very fine guests for joining me and putting their point across. Tavleen Singh, Sanjay Jha, pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you very much.